Hello, today I'm going to show you how to create the helmet head design that I've been showing on Twitter lately using just some simple modeling techniques and the plating generator add-on. So I'm going to take you through just modeling a very basic helmet shape, starting with this default cube. And then I'm just going to create some simple materials and then I'm going to use the plating generator to apply them. So here we go. So just starting with this default cube, the first thing I'm going to do is subdivide it like that, and that's just to get the basic round circular shape that I want, or spherical shape. And then I'm going to just apply that modifier. So in 2.9 it's a bit different now, so you've got the little apply button in the drop down box. That just gives me something to start working on. So if I tab into edit mode, I'll only need one half of this head because I'm going to use the mirror modifier to mirror the other half. So what I'll do is up here you can go to edge select mode, and then I'm going to just select the middle loop just by pressing Alt and clicking on that one of those edges, and then I'm going to actually I could either go to vertex mode by pressing this button, or I can just press 1 to quickly go into that mode. And I want to make one of these vertices the active vertex. So if I just if you just see what I did there, I just shift click to unselect and then clicked to make active. Others might know a quicker way of doing that. So once I've got one active vertex and all these selected, I can actually select one side of the model. So if I then do this and go to the select menu and click side of active, I'll get half of those vertices on the mesh selected. What I actually want to do is delete half of the faces here. So I want to go into face mode, but I want to retain the selection of those vertices and convert them into face selections. And to do that, I hold the shift key and then go and ahead and click the face select mode, and I get all the faces selected. And I can click off, sorry, I just need to click off the vertex select mode there as well, so that I've got one half selected. I actually just want to invert the selection there because I know the mirror modifier will mirror on that side. So I'm just going to then delete those by hitting X and saying I just want to delete the faces, and I've got that. And then what I'll do is I'll add a mirror modifier to work on, and that will automatically mirror it in that side. There's a couple of other settings I want to add here. I definitely want to bisect down the middle. Any faces that go onto this side will automatically be bisected, and I also want to turn on clipping because clipping will merge the vertices that are along. It will stop the vertices going along that transform. So I'm doubly covered there really. So just to model a really basic head, if I add another subdivision modifier which starts to make it even more circular, and I press tab to go into edit mode, you'll see that the faces are notionally selected here. I might actually just set my preferences so that the interface is a little bit thicker line width, so that you can hopefully see that a little bit better. And if I press 1 to go into vertex mode, I just want to start moving. So say this is my front of the helmet. I want to move this down. So to move, I'll hit G and I can start moving around, but I don't actually want to move it in any direction. I just want to move it along the X direction and the Z direction. Sorry, the Y direction and the Z direction. I don't want to move along the Y direction. So if I hit G and then Shift Y, I can move it in only one direction there. So if I do that over here, might be X actually, yeah, Shift X. I want to avoid the X axis. I can move that down like that to kind of get the front sort of front part of the face. You can start to see that's just a little bit more of a face shape. I'll also move this one down G and hit X to move that down a little bit more. You can start to see a sort of a head forming there very quickly, and then if I press this button it will toggle the X-ray mode so I can see the vertices at the back, and I'll select these as well because I just want to make the head a little less round, bring it in a little. So I'm going to press G, and then actually I want to go in the G and the X direction. Let's go in like that just to make the shape a little bit more and narrower at the front of the face. So that's all well and good, not quite looking like a helmet yet. So I'm just going to increase the subdivisions here. And that's starting to look in a little headlight, but I wanted to kind of give a little bit of a definition like I had in some of the images there around sort of the front and the sides. And how I can do that is using edge loops. So if I now go into hover over here and press Ctrl R, I can start to use loop cut and slice to create edge loops around the mesh. And what this will do, will cause a subdivision modifier to actually sharpen some of the edges. So I'll do the front first. I'll just move this along a little bit to that point, and then I'll click there. You can see that I've got that kind of sharper definition around that side of the head. And what I want to do is have a bit of a sharper definition around here. So what I'll do is I'll tab into edit mode again, press Ctrl R, and then I want to have an edge loop there. Probably see that better around the sides there. So I've kind of, if I tab out, I've kind of got this kind of sharp front going that I wanted to get. And then I might just start moving some of the vertices around just to get a slightly rounder shape. So if I G and X there again, I've kind of got a little smoother shape. And I also might want to move some of the vertices because I might not want this sort of all sharp along here. I might want to sort of have a curved tail off into kind of a more smoother shape here. And the way I can do that is by selecting the vertices and kind of moving them out, so I'm distributing the faces a little bit more on this side. And the way I move along the edges is to double tap G. So if I go GG, I can kind of move, just constrain that movement along edges so that I get a smoother shape kind of blending into the helmet. So if I just do that a bit more, you can see that I get a slightly smoother shape along here, which is what I'm after. I'll do the same along the top as well. You can see that start to take effect. If I tab out of here, kind of got the sort of shape I was heading for. I might move these a little bit, move both if I can, just to kind of get that sort of rounder shape going. And I think that will probably do. Let's move that back a bit. That might do. Quite. Okay, I think that's probably good enough for now. I'm sure you could make it a lot better if you spend a bit more time on it. So that's kind of the basic head complete. We'll leave it like that for now. The other kind of tips is that you could sort of perhaps do some proportional modeling. So you could just say you wanted to mess around with just that front area there. There's this proportional modeling tool which will kind of move the vertices as well as everything else. So if I click G there, and a circle will appear. So and that will kind of move all the vertices kind of together. So you could have a play around with that as well. Anyway, that's just a really basic helmet type shape, and you know it's kind of a little bit sci-fi accentuated, just kind of put more emphasis on the front chin, just to make it look a little bit unique. Anyway, so that's the basic modeling side part of it done, and then what I'll do is I'll just create some basic textures that I can use with the plating generator to apply. So the first basic material, if I press the dot key, is so I'm zoomed in on the head, and then I've got just the basic material here, and I'll do this now, and then I'll show you how it's being used later. Is I'll actually add what's called a vertex color, and we won't be using that quite yet, but it will come in handy later for the add-on. So at the moment that's turned it black, and vertex colors are basically colors that can be assigned onto the vertices of the geometry to give to start producing colors from the same material. The next kind of material I want, so if I go to the materials tab and for the geometry and create a new material here, I want a kind of a glowy blue material as well. So if I just click new there, and what I'll do is I'll delete the default node here, the default principled BSDF, and I'll create an emission shader here. And you won't see anything change in the viewport just yet, but I'll bring that up to about 5 for strength, and I'll create a blue and the grey material, and I think that's probably all we need actually to get going. So the next stage is to actually apply the generator. So to do this, I'm going to apply these modifiers. So I'm going to apply the mirror modifier, and I'm going to apply the subdivision modifier. So nothing's actually changed, but I've actually collapsed the modifiers here so that I can apply the plating generator. What I want to do actually is the same trick I did before, which was to create that loop of vertices, if I can, like that, and select the side of the active, like that. I'll probably want to invert it, and then I'll delete those vertices like that, and then I shall just do a mirror modifier here, and then go back to where we were before, but I wanted to get the same plating effect on the other side. I'll also shade it smooth to start with, and we'll see how we go from there. So also you'll see kind of like there's a little divide there, and if I click bisect, it will actually merge it together, and also select clipping as well. So the next stage is to apply the plating generator. So if I hit F3, I've already used it previously, but basically you'll get all menu commands. You can type the word plate there, or it should be under plating and greebles, and you can click here. So I'm just going to create plates. I'm not going to add greebles, which are kind of lots of different little sort of geometric details that you can add as objects. But if you click generate plates here, you'll start to see an effect. It looks a bit strange to start with because we haven't changed all the settings yet, but it kind of gives you that quick kind of plating effect created. So there's a few options that I'll need to change. So it looks so kind of smooth because I haven't turned on edge split, which divides the edges around the corners. So if I can do that by clicking other options and edge split, and here you start to get the effect that I was hoping for. So in a recent feature I've done with the plating generator is to add this ability to create materials and also vertex colors. on the mesh. So so I'm going to do that now. So there's a new tab called Materials. So if I expand that tab, the first thing you can do is select the groove material, and I'll select it so it's that blue material to start with here. So you can start to see that is starting to look similar to the image that we're going for here. The key thing here is that you can start to change some of the seed settings so that you get different effects. So we'll leave it at that for the moment. I also wanted kind of some triangular edges here, so I've got a way of doing that so that you can change the pattern type so it's slightly more triangular. And again, we can change some of the plating settings. That looks an okay thing to work with there. There's a few other settings that we can play with that are worth looking at. So you can slightly randomize some of the heights as well of the plating generator. So I'll put that to about 0.02, and also I want to kind of like have a negative height effect as well, 0.02 there. And you don't have to change the pattern in order to get different. That just gives a little bit more detail to it. I'll also want to add some bevels to the plates, so I'll do that by adding a small plate bevel, probably about 0.01. So there you can see that that bevel there, it's like a bevel effect there. I'll probably increase the segmentation of those bevels so they're looking a bit smoother. So that's starting to look something like at least the basic level. And that's probably, we'll leave it at that, and then we can start playing with the textures a little bit more to get kind of that glowing effect. So if I leave those settings as they are, and also I can remember those settings for later by clicking the plus sign and creating a preset by clicking helmet _ preset and clicking OK. We can start working on the textures. So if I click this, this will go into Eevee's preview mode. You're not getting any kind of that glowing effect yet, but we can do that very quickly with Eevee by clicking on the bloom settings here under the render properties tab. That very quickly gives you a glowing type effect. If you play with parameters like threshold, you can slightly increase that glowing effect. But we'll leave it at that for now. I think that's good for the demonstration purposes. The other effect that you're not quite seeing here is if you go to materials and you click add vertex colors, you can also get colors on the head shape, which is quite good. And you can make these colors grey by altering the material. So we'll go ahead and alter the material as well and make it a little bit more metallic. And we'll probably add in an HDRI map just to make this look a bit more professional. Before that, I'll just show you as well that you can get some curved corners as well. So you can click press by changing the bevel amount to a slight amount, you can get these kind of corners here, and you can also increase the segmentation of those corners, so that gives you kind of a nice smooth effect as well. So that's looking pretty good to me, at least. And you can also see with kind of variable plate heights, you're getting different bevel effects there, so that's good. We probably don't want a multicolored helmet because sci-fi stuff is suitably grey and serious and all that. So I'm going to click off the add-on now, and you'll see that vertex color layer is it gets applied by default, but you can also select the actual name of the color, which is vertex color, which is plating color. And instead of all the different colours, we just want greys. And the trick here to do that is if you go into the material view and you hit Shift A, and click on search and go to the color ramp, you get this color ramp node. And what this color ramp node actually does is it will take in things like color values and apply new color values to them according to this gradient. So the color values go from 0 to 1, and because I just want a uniform grey color, so the RGB values will be the same, I want to feed this vertex color into here and then put it back into the base color there. So if I feed in the color into the input and put that into the output, you'll get this kind of grey effect here, which is more what we're after. So we're starting to get a nicer effect now. The other thing we want to do is to make this slightly more metallic, so you can increase the metallic effect here of the shape, and you'll kind of want some kind of little scratches and stuff effect on here, and you can what you want to do there is to sort of change some of the roughness values and have it a bit sort of nuanced and accented. And you can do that here as well using a noise node that you create here, and we'll get I'll just control C and control V that just to get another color ramp node here, and then I'll feed the noise tab in, and instead of feeding this into the color section, I'll feed this into the roughness section. So that starts to get you a little sort of a metallic shape. The other thing I want to kind of change is the colour here. I want to kind of bring down so there's not so harsh whites and blacks. I want to kind of bring down the contrast a little bit. Then I'll go back to this colour ramp here that's controlling the roughness, and I probably want to scale down the roughness a bit so that you're getting, scale up the roughness so that you're getting a little bit of kind of a more detailed effect. And it's still not looking great, but I noticed if you turn up the roughness, you're starting to get sort of slightly more nuanced effect, and in the right lighting conditions that can start to look pretty good. So you can also change some of the roughness settings here. I'll also up the detail, so that's starting to look really nice now. So I've increased the detail feature there. That's looking a lot nicer. We've kind of lost the glowing effect here. Just click bloom again, and then you can start to see that really kind of starting to look much better. You can also increase the metallic, play around with the metallic settings, and start to get that nice effect. The other trick you can do with these effects that really can really look nice is you can add an environment map, an HDRI map. The best place I've found to go is a website called HDRI Haven. So if I go to the world section of the shader editor and I hit Shift A, I can load up an environment texture node, and if I click open there, and I'll just navigate to my HDRIs folder, and there was something called Moonless Golf that I loaded, and then if I feed that into the background, you'll start to see, not that it's quite working, you can start to see the colour there. And if you don't want the background, another trick you can do is if you add a mix shader here, and you also add a light paths node, and feed whether it's a camera or not into that, and then feed that into the there, and then you'll get the shader there. You can start to see sort of a slightly more interesting shape. I'll just go back to these world settings and change them a little bit more. So you want kind of like slightly more specular. Yeah, so if I up, that's the way we want to go. So there, you're getting a lot more a lot more shiny effect there. And I think that's pretty much it for this demonstration tutorial. If you wanted to kind of go back and change the plating pattern, by default Blender isn't great when adding these custom operators and letting you sort of go back and change at the moment. Hopefully that will get improved in the future. But what you can do is I've built an animation nodes version of this add-on, and you can read in the documentation about using animation nodes to make this plating effect a lot more interactive. And I'll show you that previous setup. So there's a setup here, and this is part of the download section for a helmet that's already created. So if I move the random seed and change the random seed, this is just a version of the plating generator that's that I made earlier with some little greebles on it. But what you can then do is change the seed in real time. So this animation nodes is a way of more dynamically changing your modeling. It's chiefly for animation, and hopefully they're working on a geometry version of this, which is a lot like a workflow like in Houdini, where the mesh can change much more dynamically. Anyway, that'll do for now. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. And if so, I'll do more videos that are similar to this that show some of my add-ons at work. Thank you very much for your time.